Hey, welcome to my podcast. My name is Dr. Brendan McCarthy. I am the Chief Medical Officer of Protea Medical Center in Chandler, Arizona. For now, we're moving soon. I'll keep you updated. Anyway, this is the first video that I'm making on the trauma-informed physician. And that came from one of our people on Instagram wrote a comment, shared one of our reels, and she called me a trauma-informed physician. And that struck me. It made me realize, I am. And this is what I do. I prescribe more therapy to my patients, I think, than any other therapy I prescribe. This is going to the one I prescribe to mostly is EMDR therapy, but a lot of my patients I prescribe, or I refer them, there we go, that's a better way of putting it. I refer my patients a lot of times to therapy. I truly do. It's a big thing. It's important because I can do so much work in the clinic, good work in the clinic, and I can get to the bottom of their biological, endocrinological cause of their pathology. I can do it. And I have all the tools at my disposal, and I am driven. With that said, what happens when I hit the wall where I can't find the rest of it, where I can see it leads here, but I can't go there? Because this is my specialty. I always make sure I refer. I always make sure that I want to be the best doctor I can be for that woman or that man in that room with me. And part of that is making that leap with them is, hey, listen, I got you here. This is what's going on in the background. That might be the significant cause of this. It's worth investigating. So that's what I'm going to talk about. I'm going to give you a case study that happened to me early on. I had a patient, and it was a weight loss patient. And she presented to clinic approximately 40 pounds above her ideal body weight, healthy. And when I say ideal and healthy, I want you guys to know I'm not an aesthetic guy even a little bit. There's a percentage of body fat we should have to be healthy, and a percentage of body fat that we have that's not healthy. How do we know the difference? Or what is that demarcation there? What does that mean? Think of this. If you go to the supermarket and you buy olive oil, right? Your olive oil has vitamin E in it. Why? Vitamin E is an antioxidant, and that prevents the oil from becoming rancid. Oil always becomes oxidized. It's just part of what oil does. And that's what rancid is. And your body fat will become oxidized. The only thing that prevents that, your immune system. So as you have your body fat, and you need body fat, it's part of being alive. It's a part of your whole system. You should not get rid of it. You need a percentage of it to be healthy. But when your body fat is beyond what your immune system's ability to quench the free radicals and to prevent it from being oxidized, that body fat is now more inflammatory. So if you have a body fat level that's above a certain percentage, we worry about that becoming oxidized, being more pro-inflammatory, and really having an impact long-term on your health. Now, the percentages we use in office, I use the InBody scale. I've used the InBody scale for 15 years. No, 14 years. 14 years I've had an InBody scale in my office. And they are, in my opinion, the best. I know they're having a little bit of a moment now on the internet. And you'll see they're very popular right now. But I'm telling you, for 14 years, I've used this scale. 14 years. I've upgraded every couple of years to the newest one because it's that good and that accurate. They also sell one on Amazon. It's like $250, $350. I know it sounds like a lot, and it is a lot. The data points on there are important for me as a physician. And sometimes I'll prescribe one of those scales to my patients to get. But it is something that's available. Like that one, $350. I think I paid like $14,000 for mine. So that one is accurate that you find online. I don't work for InBody. I don't get anything from InBody. They have no idea I'm saying this right now. So there's just let you know that. So what I look for body fat percentage is going to be for a woman between 18 and 28% body fat. Below 18%, I worry because if you don't have enough body fat, there's a lot of significant health issues. Above 28%, I worry about free radicals. I worry about inflammation. So I always want that body fat below 28%. It's not aesthetic. I didn't say you have to fit a certain size. That's not where my brain is. It never will be. I always think about inflammation. For men, the percentage is 10 to 20%. As long as I'm in those zones, especially as we get older, because our immune systems start to recede a little bit as we get older. We become more pro-inflammatory. If we have an inflammatory diet on top of that, we really need to keep it lower to protect them and be healthy. So let's get back to the subject at hand. Patient presents to clinic. She's about 40 pounds above what her weight should be. It's 40 pounds of adipose, actually. That's on the in-body scale that I really would like to see pulled back down, because that's going to be a significant impact on her health long term. She's in her early 40s, as I recall. So what happens with her? We run a series of lab work. We understand she has a couple things that are holding her back. We ideally optimized her thyroid. That worked. That was good. And then we worked with her on her diet, because she was eating a more high glycemic index of foods in her diet. And her cortisol levels were kind of suppressed, a little bit low. She had a lot of stress in her life. And her fasting insulin was pretty high. So when fasting insulin's high and cortisol's a little irregular, I worry about stress. And I know stress plays a role with weight gain for a lot of us. So that was in the back of my mind as well. So we prescribe a diet and a protocol with her. We do foods that are low in the glycemic index, making sure we're emphasizing fruits and vegetables, making sure we're reducing grains as much as I can. And I optimize her thyroid, and she loses all the weight. True story. All of it. And it worked. And I was happy. I see her 6 months later. She gained all the weight back. Now, this is the part where it gets confusing and frustrating for the patient and confusing for the physician. As a physician, let me say this. How often do you go to your doctor and the protocol didn't work well and they blame you? That doesn't work, does it? Does it work when your doctor blames you? Never. Nope. That's not what we should be doing as a doctor. I should be looking at this patient saying, I missed something. She doesn't want that body weight. She came to me. She put the effort in. She put in all the due diligence to lose weight. And all came back. Am I going to shame her? No, never. What am I going to do? I'm a doctor. My commitment is to her health. That's my calling. So what am I going to do? I'm going to figure her out. So this patient, we spent more time. We worked on the diet plan with her. I gave her a better understanding of things. I stood by her side a little bit more, ran the labs, confirmed everything with her. I felt she had enough buy-in with it. We did the protocol again. She lost the weight. And I admonished her in a loving way. You start gaining weight back, you call me. I always like to use the example of, like, I work for you. I'm your employee right now. Or I'm a general contractor you have employed. I work for you. You tell me you need something done, I'm going to get that done with you. So say you come into my office, and say say I'm a mechanic and this is your car. You come in and your tire's making a certain sound when you make a right turn. All right, I'll fix it. I fix it. I say, that works. You're great. You take your car out. If you make a right turn and it makes that sound again, bring it back in. If I get your diet right and you lose weight, you're good. I'm proud of that work. If you start gaining weight again, back to me, please. This is my job. So the patient started gaining weight back again, presented back to clinic. We had a long, good conversation. I talked about the history of when she eats, why she eats more. And people don't always share with you the whole story the first time. They just don't. And I'm never going to, you can't get mad at people for not sharing the whole story either, because they're not always ready to. I was ready to. She stress eats. She anxiety eats. Many doctors would say, change your mind, do something different. Snap a rubber band on your wrist. Blah, 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 blah. Does that work? No. If it did, we wouldn't be having this problem, would we? Let me say this. We would not be having this problem anymore if there was a good solution out there, but there is no current good solution out there that's widely understood. I believe this is a good approach to do that I think has the most hope, most potential. If you stop this video now, pause it, and go to Google Scholar and look up obesity and adverse childhood events scores, you will be blown away by the association of abnormal weight gain and inability to lose weight with people who have a history of trauma in their childhood. It is not something that can be argued anymore. So many of us have been through a hard time. So many of us have faced adversity in our childhoods. And we got through it, And we're here now as adults. And we survived it. But that doesn't mean that we don't still carry some of the pathology that it brought to us. So this patient with her stress eating, I referred her to therapy, EMDR. That is the therapy I refer to only now. So I don't prescribe CBT or cognitive behavioral therapy because over the years I've seen it doesn't work as well as EMDR. Now, EMDR is short for eye movement, desensitization, and reprocessing. That's a different type of therapy entirely. I can attest to its effectiveness with my patients. So I referred this patient to EMDR clinic in order to see if this could be helped. And I was so dedicated to it, I actually went to her appointment with her. This is the doctor I am. I'm not saying that to brag. I'm saying that to set a standard. This is what doctors do. When you're dedicated to your patients, you do your best to help them and you're present for them. If you can't go to their appointment with their therapist, Skype in or Zoom in or whatever the digital platform is, be there with them. If that's what's necessary to help them, heck yeah. And I've done it and I'll do it again. So I went to her appointment with her and we discussed, she shared a lot of the trauma she experienced as a child. When you have an event in your life, in your childhood, that you can't process correctly, that lasts with you, when you had an abusive experience as a child or a series of abusive experiences, such as the patient I was with, it dysregulates the way you perceive the world around you. You could walk into a room that anyone else feels safe, but you don't feel safe because your processing was compromised at an early age and it was never quite set right. So you perceive danger when it's not there. And your body responds to that perception. Your logical mind is like, why am I anxious? Why am I worried? Why am I upset? But your body is just going for it. When that happens, you will upregulate cortisol production from your adrenal gland. That elevated level of cortisol you see in those patients triggers a higher fasting insulin level. The higher level of fasting insulin in that woman is going to cause her to store body fat disproportionate to her calorie intake. On my end, I can help manage that cortisol and insulin, and I can do a good job at it like I did with that patient. But if she doesn't have that processing done here and change the perception, which is an achievable goal, it is achievable. But if she doesn't do that part, my protocol will always collapse in the face of stress. It doesn't matter how good I am at that protocol. It will always collapse until this is processed. So as a physician, when a patient presents to clinic with weight gain, we want to understand why. We want to approach it from as many levels as we can with the patient. We want to understand, where's their adrenals? What happened to their cortisol? Where's their insulin? We want to understand what's their history with stress in their life. What's their current levels of stress? We also want to understand certain neurotransmitters that play a role, such as serotonin. Fun fact, serotonin, when you are low in serotonin, you will crave sugar or carbs of any kind. The reason why is that when serotonin levels are low neurologically, your body wants serotonin. When you eat food that increases your blood sugar levels, that elevated level of blood sugar helps tryptophan cross the blood-brain barrier. Tryptophan then turns into 5-hydroxytryptophan, then turns into serotonin. So when patients have anxiety, depression, when they have these neurological changes, they will crave sugar, and that sugar levels, when they have that, that's going to help brain chemistry. So that craving for sugar is inescapable and unstoppable for them. Me just telling them don't eat sugar doesn't solve the problem. Me looking at the serotonin helps. Me looking at the cause of the serotonin deficiency is me going after the source of the problem. I hope this helps. Please like, share, and subscribe. This material is really important that I get it right because so many of us are suffering from trauma, affecting our endocrine systems now. And we feel like we're not getting anywhere with the care we're receiving because it's just targeting just the endocrine system. My goal with this series of videos and episodes is truly to explain why trauma leads to these things and to show you how addressing the trauma through good therapy can mitigate and ultimately stop the cause of this and ultimately get a solution with you. So thank you so much for tuning in. As I mentioned, please like, share, and subscribe. And also give me your comments, guys. I want to do a good job of this. Justin and I reread these comments. This is important to us. I want to do a good job. And I anticipate the questions you'll be asking. We do. And we try and understand how to make a video that will answer those questions in advance. And if we get it wrong, let me know. It's so easy for us to adjust this. So easy for us to make a change. I'll leave it at that. Thank you so much.